All right, welcome. We're here today with Peyton Smith from over at Fourth Radical, and we're looking at the results are starting to come in from some of the primaries today. So we got McGrath, Booker, Bowman, AOC. So it's still early; things could change, but we're gonna take some commentary on the early stages of things and how they're starting to shape up. So, what are your early thoughts, Peyton?
All right, so right now the results that we're looking at is basically AOC definitely seems to be definitely seems to have secured her reelection, which is unsurprising to a lot of people. Although if you were watching Tim Pool over on YouTube, which I don't know why you would, but if you were, you'll know that he's been talking about how AOC is going to lose. It's the downfall of AOC. AOC is so worried. That's the stuff he's been talking about. So it seems like AOC has definitely secured reelection. Cabu Cabrosa, or however you say your name. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to, mispronounce her out of disrespect. But she seems to have only gathered like about no more than 25% of the vote so far. So it does seem to be a pretty resounding victory for AOC. So that's definitely something exciting to see. Now, when we're looking at New York 16th Congressional District, we're talking about Jamal Bowman versus Eliot Engel. A lot of people were comparing Jamal's race and Eliot Engel, I should say, Jamal and Eliot Engel's race with AOC's race only 2 years ago. They were saying, look, I mean, this is an instance of a progressive insurgent taking down a high-ranking Democratic establishment figure like Eliot Engel in the Foreign Affairs or whatever it is committee. So it is really exciting to see right now the results coming in with Jamal Bowman in the lead substantially over Eliot Engel. This is a really big deal. This is a really, really big deal. In other news, it also does not look like Charles Booker is going to be toppling Amy McGrath, although the night is still young. We'll have to see, but it does look like Charles Booker may have lost in that one, although Charles Booker only recently starting to gain up steam. So, Chris, how do you feel about this stuff so far?
Yeah, the Bowman one, I guess I kind of was hoping it would definitely go that way. I mean, I'll admit, up until a few weeks ago, Engel wasn't even someone who was really on my radar that I was paying much attention to. And then he just started making the news with basically fails, right? Like all the news coming up was
Yeah.
bad between you got a Clinton endorsement, which seemed to backfire and actually blow up in his face. He's tangling with AOC. He's got the hot mic, which blew up in his face. It's just everything about him in the last
And
few weeks has just been stuff that would make you
it
not
has
want to
been
vote
a
for him.
disaster. I mean, the hot mic is really what put it on the map. The hot mic and,
Right.
the coronavirus and how he wasn't in his district and the Black Lives Matter protest is really what, really put the thing over the top. But the hot mic, man, the hot mic, the quote, guys, if you don't remember this quote, he literally said, if I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, I feel like anyone listening to that is like, oh yeah, F that guy. He's done. Let's go. We're done with that. Doesn't matter what your political ideology. I
Right.
agree with Eliot Engel. I'm one of those few people who agree with Eliot Engel, but you gotta go, bro. You gotta go. Because we don't mess with that. I mean, who says that? Who says like
Right.
who says that stuff, man? I mean, it's
Yeah,
out
I
of a
mean, essentially,
movie.
he just declared to the world, "This is just a big game to me. I'll do and say whatever I need to do to get
Yeah.
reelected."
Yeah, and so and it really was that hot mic though that set the seat as okay, this is a real winnable seat. And it was shortly after that that AOC said, okay, I'm leaning in for an endorse. Bernie Sanders, I'm leaning in for an endorse. And we started to see progressives across the board line up behind Jamal Bowman to take out Eliot Engel. If I'm not mistaken, Chris, we even saw, people like Elizabeth Warren and Katie Porter coming in to say, all right, we're against Eliot Engel in this instance. And so it was a weird kind of break up, which you might not typically expect when it comes to who's establishment and who's not in this particular instance. So oftentimes we might think of as establishment, including people like Katie Porter. Some people might say Elizabeth Warren as well. But, even them breaking away from, the Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi establishment and Clinton establishment, saying that we're against this dude. We're going to get this dude out of office. We're going to get this dude out of office.
Yeah. The other race I was paying attention to, was the McGrath Booker race. So I've mentioned before, one of the reasons that that pushed me to getting more involved in politics was this dislike of Mitch McConnell and wanting to see him go away and not be on the scene anymore. And I guess this was disappointing because Booker really seemed like someone that people could get behind versus McGrath, who has this, there really is quite a bit of machinery behind her, trying to push her
She's
forward.
Chris, she's a pro-Trump Democrat. What about that?
Yeah.
Don't you love? Don't
exactly.
you love that?
That's exactly where I was going. I don't even understand what the term means, but anything that if you're a candidate and there's any part in there that's pro-Trump, I'm not interested in you being in office, I guess. So
she's talking about how
weird.
She's a pro-Trump Democrat, and that the mind-twisting logic of Mitch McConnell needs to go because he's obstructing Donald Trump's agenda. What? Wait, yeah. What? So what? I'm confused. Yeah. Maybe it's such a galaxy brain take, such a brilliant take that I just don't understand it. But surface level, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. What you trying to do out there? Now, if Booker had been successful, and by the way, we should clarify, night's still young. Something could still change. Pray, hope and pray. But it doesn't look too optimistic, although he definitely put up a pretty big fight. If he did, it would have been the first Democrat, especially if he'd taken down then Mitch McConnell, first Democrat since I think like 1982, or is it 1992? I'm not sure. So, but regardless, quite a long time ago for a Democrat to be representing Kentucky. So definitely would have been a big deal. Definitely would have been a pretty big deal there. Now, when it comes to sort of the McGrath Booker thing, the other thing to really think about here is that it really wasn't until very recently that Booker started, sort of surging in the polls. And part of that was to do with the protest. Part of that was to do with the Black Lives Matter stuff going on, and that stuff in general. But also Booker had a number of sort of viral moments on the floor. You'll remember how he was screaming on the Senate or the Kentucky Senate floor, something like "My life matters too." And it's a very powerful moment that went viral. But so in other words, we should keep in mind that, even if Booker does end up losing this, the fact that he was able to get what appears to be over 30% of the vote is substantial. And it goes to show you that there is a powerful move there to get someone in like, someone more progressive in Kentucky. We shouldn't forget that lesson, right? The idea that Kentucky is just lost to Donald Trump doesn't seem to be true. There seems to be a real strong populist movement there that might be open to ideas like Medicare for All or a Green New Deal. So we'll have to see. It's definitely something to follow. It's definitely something to look forward to when it comes to this. I mean, Chris, what do you think, though? Let's say Amy McGrath does win. Do you think that someone like that has any chance of going up against Mitch McConnell? Because I've always felt like how are you going to out-Trump Mitch McConnell on the Democrat? I don't know. I don't know.
It's such a weird conundrum. The whole thing is weird. I mean, like we start off, I don't even really understand her from the beginning. The whole idea of a pro-Trump Democrat, and then on top of that, who's the most electable? I mean, it seems like the amount of power that Mitch McConnell yields in that state, should not be underestimated.
Here's the other thing, I used to always say that I would vote for a turtle over Mitch McConnell. But so if you're telling me that you're more pro-Trump than Donald Trump or than Mitch McConnell, I don't I don't know if I would vote for what do you I don't know. Yeah. So how are you going to motivate voters, I guess, is the weird thing to ask. And what productive thing are you doing to push the dialogue forward if your entire argument is Mitch McConnell isn't doing enough for Donald Trump? So how are you pushing the dialogue forward to actually advocate for new ideas? It's disappointing. I'll say that. It's disappointing.
Right. Yep, definitely is. Hopefully we'll hear more from Booker in the future. Hopefully we'll see some more
he's definitely a very talented politician. Hopefully we'll see some more stuff from him.
Yep. So again, the night is young. Things could change, but it definitely looks like the numbers are starting to maybe you can kind of predict where things are going to go. So thanks, Peyton, for joining us for the conversation. Make sure to head over to Fourth Radical. Check out those YouTube videos over there. Very good commentary. And thanks again, and we'll see how things pan out.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.